you can make a lot of money. But the thing is, those guardrails in place because these guys don't want to be out there that late. It is a very exhausting job. Unless you've done it, it's hard to explain what it puts you through.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
David Allen is a UPS Teamster in Atlanta, host of the Roswell Hub on YouTube with Greg Kerwood. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I'm sure folks who work at UPS are already listening to you, so definitely, if you're not, go ahead and check it out. UPS is offering a buyout to employees. We talked about it a little bit last week, but some more news has come out, and the offer itself is actually has actually been released, and so we know the details. What are they?
Oh, $1,800 for every year of service with a $10,000 minimum. Across the board, I would say a lot of the drivers are very upset about this. They think it's garbage for the work we do.
$1,800 a year with a $10,000 minimum is the buyout offer. That really is not much. That's when I heard you talking about it on the Roswell Hub, I think you said something like that's like a week of pay. That's if you don't work overtime. I mean, it's really not that much. And so, what do you think UPS's thinking is here on this? Like, why do they think that this is going to be effective for them?
Well, I mean, if you really look at it through their lens and through their eyes, they viewed it as like a plan, like they can't lose, right? I mean, so basically they're doing these buyouts, I guess through their lens. They're like, okay, we're going to do these buyouts and we're going to go to the media and we're going to just pump up this, this whole story. And let me back up, because UPS has been having this whole goal of having better, not bigger. They want to shrink the workforce. They want to shrink the hubs and everything else. So when shareholders hear layoffs and leaner and thinner, profits, whatever, bigger profits with leaner employees, they get excited and they buy more shares. So this is not just UPS. This is just about every company does this, right? So with that being said, it's they thought through their lens they're just going to do this, and even if they offered us scraps, maybe they can get a couple people to bite, and then they get the story, and then they get some of these higher senior guys to leave, and then they don't have to worry about paying the health and welfare, and then they get a new guy that maybe take his place and have to do the 4-year progression. And so it kind of so now they're paying somebody half as much for the same work. But in all reality, what I've been seeing through my eyes is like, I mean, we've had people leave and they just don't fill in the spots. And so the people are working even later. So it's very bizarre.
That's what it looks like. I've been seeing online from Teamsters is that rather than, the talk being, oh, wow, I can't get any overtime. I sure wish I had more overtime. There's just not enough work. We're really having a hard time, because there's just so little work. The thing that I hear more often is that we're very short-staffed. There's not enough people at my facility, and I'm constantly being asked to work overtime. Is that your experience? I mean, how are people talking to you about their, the staffing levels at their facilities?
Yeah, so if you work in a big hub, you may see something different because they laid off all these feeder routes, and the people that were a feeder, they go back into package, so now they have an overflow. So a lot of those guys are not experiencing it. But on like most of the hubs, I would say a good 90% chunk of the hubs are seeing the skeleton crew where they're just not hiring people. And like, I'll give you an example for anybody who doesn't work for UPS. My day, sometimes the worst case scenario, I'll wake up at 7. I suit up for work. I drive in. I only live 20 minutes away from work. I go to work, and then by the time I'm done and I get home, it's midnight. So you're not even getting 8 hours of sleep at that point, you know?
Right.
And that's the reality of this job. It's always kind of been this way. It's like ebb and flows. Like not every day is that worst case scenario, but you do have a lot of that where it's so unpredictable, you know, when you come in. And I think that's what frustrates a lot of people about the job. The pay is great. The benefits are great. You know, everything the union fought for is what's made it so people stick around for it. But if we didn't have those things, oh my God, like we would be turning on employees left and right.
Right, right. Can you talk to me about what are the 9-5 grievances? Like, isn't there a way that you can opt out of some of this overtime if you'd like to, or am I wrong?
No, well, okay. So yeah, every contract we always try to put more stronger language to get people off and have a good work life balance, right? And the problem is that sometimes the company does honor it. Like the last 3 years, I saw for the most part, a lot of people were getting off before 9.5 hours. And like I, for instance, I don't think I filed any grievances for like 2 years because they were honoring it for the most part. Mm-hmm. And we also have 8-hour requests where we can request 2 times a month to have an 8-hour day, right? Now the 9-5s, if you work over 9.5 hours 3 times in the week, you know, you get penalty pay, which is triple time essentially for any hours over 9.5 hours. Now, if they keep violating it, I'm just going to give an example. If you go over, if they keep violating, let's just say for like 2 months straight, right? It's really 5 times, but we'll say 2 months. They end up paying you quad. So you get paid 4 times your hours. And it's insane money, but it's funny because right now they act like it doesn't matter.
So anytime if you work more than 3 times in a week over 9.5 hours, you can file a grievance and get paid for triple time for the hours that are over that 9.5 that 9.5 hours in one day. And then you said you can request 2 times in 1 month an 8-hour day?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And
just wanted to make sure I was understanding.
We have these harsh penalties on the company. Oh yeah, no, listen, I'm sorry, in the UPS world, this whole thing's kind of confusing, you know? Mm-hmm. I totally understand. For anybody who doesn't work at UPS, this is a lot to throw at somebody, and it's gotten really complicated. Like the 9-5 language is incredibly complicated, but in long and short, just to make it easy for people, we have all these guardrails in place we can't tell the company to not deliver stuff, because then we have poor customer service. We may lose customers and all that. Mm-hmm. Some people will argue with me on that, but that's just the way we've always operated, right? Mm-hmm. Now, so we've always had these crazy guardrails for penalty pay, where they have to pay all these penalties. So if they violate the 8-hour request, then they have to pay 4 hours of penalty. You know, like I said before, 9-5, you can pay a quad pay. I've had guys get paid over $1,000 in 1 week violation grievance for quad. And it basically ends up being a lot of money. You can make a lot of money, but the thing is like those guardrails are in place because these guys don't want to be out there that late. It is a very exhausting job, and people, unless you've done it, it's hard to explain like what it puts you through.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
No doubt. I mean, it sounds like a lot. I wouldn't want to do it. And so this was rolled out. There was like some talk about it in the press, and then the Teamsters pushed back against it, and it was kind of initially looking like, okay, well, UPS has backed off and they're not going to go through with this. But then ultimately it was implemented, and people found out, $1,800 per year of service with a minimum of $10,000. The Teamsters say this is illegal. This offer, the whole program, is not legal. Why are what is the case that the Teamsters have there?
Well, they're saying it's an extra contractual agreement. So we have in our contract there cannot be any extra contractual agreements outside of the contract. And, some people may argue and say, because I think in 2023 there was buyouts for the pilots, but the Teamsters never interjected on that. And I don't know what was going on at the time. It was it was on the news and stuff like that. But in the end of the day, like this one, the Teamsters are interjecting on it, and they are saying it's a contract violation, and they want to push for it. So, I think it's a fair case to make. You are making an agreement outside of the contract, and
right.
If that's the case they want to make, I think they have every right to push for it.
And, the reason that you would want a clause like that inside of a contract is just because, if you have the company going around to individual employees and making these side deals, it undermines, the validity of the contract and the strength of the contract. You want everything to be negotiated through collective bargaining, through those sorts of channels instead of, that's the whole reason that we have a union, is because we decided we want to collectively bargain, and here UPS is trying to go around the collective bargaining process and do something individually, these little side deals. And so that that makes sense that the Teamsters would want to object to that sidelining of the collective bargaining process. You said that folks are not happy with the offer. Is that right?
Yeah. So I guess all right. So if you don't mind, let me back up real quick. All right. So when the initial, it was initially announced like a couple months ago that they were going to do these buyouts. Then the Teamsters came out with their side. This is an unfair buyout, or it's against the contract. It's illegal. And so then the news press picked it up, and it was a lot of bad PR for UPS, because every news press that came out, it was always buyouts and Teamsters, and how basically the Teamsters were saying this is a legal buyout. And so I thought for a while there they were going to just scrap it, right? Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like the scheduling of things just wasn't there. And then it just out of the blue, they started sending out these letters. And during that time, when people had no idea that it was going to be such a lowball offer, they were getting excited. Mind you, once again, I just told you there are days that I get up at 7 and go home at midnight, right?
Right.
So like when you have a schedule like that, when you live a life like that, day in and day out, you really want to get out of it. And I think that's fair. And so people were thinking, oh, this multi-billion-dollar company is going to pay me $500,000 to leave. I'll take it. And turns to find out, dude, you're going to get maybe $50K if you've been here for 30 years. And after taxes and everything else, you may end up with 27. So it's a slap in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, and so probably not going to be getting just a whole lot of folks with this deal. And so what are the next steps? I saw the Teamsters were telling folks to file grievances locally where they try to roll it out. I guess that's what happens next, right?
Yeah, we're filing grievances and filing charges as well. So that's going to be happening everywhere. But UPS, for whatever reason, they didn't want to sit down and hold back, or at least talk to the Teamsters and hash things out. They just went ahead and pulled the trigger, which I don't know was the right move. I don't think it was, but especially since, as you can tell, not very many people are going to take it to begin with. So why is the juice worth the squeeze? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, David, appreciate you calling in and giving us an update. Definitely folks need to check out the Roswell Hub. Y'all are all UPS all the time, so check it out. Anything else that you wanted to make sure to mention before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to give you a shout out. You know, I've been watching your show for a long time, and I think that you do great work. And you know, I know the amount of work that you put into this because I know how much work I put into mine, and it's a labor of love. And you know, I think I appreciate everything you do.
I appreciate it, brother. Same to you. And we'll
All right, appreciate you guys. Love you.
Yep. We'll talk to David. Talk to David later. Maybe bring him back on the program to talk about the resolution of this once that gets resolved. So appreciate him calling in. Definitely check out Roswell Hub on YouTube. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.